The Miami Heat, key free agents, PJ Tucker, non-Bird, restricted free agent. Caleb Martin, non-Bird, unrestricted free agent. I think I called PJ Tucker restricted. He's unrestricted. Victor Oladipo, they have full bird rights on him. Dwayne Dedman, Markieff Morris are non-birds. If anyone cares, Udonis Haslem is a free agent, and Miami can pay him whatever that it needs to if they deem it necessary for him to come back. Notable non-guarantees: Gabe Vincent, Max Strus at 1.8 million. Both of those will be guaranteed or have already been guaranteed. And Omer Yurtseven, I would imagine they probably guarantee him as well. Hayward Highsmith has $50K guaranteed until July 1st, fully guaranteed on July 15th. Notable extension candidates: Tyler Hero. No notable trade exceptions. Their best spending tool is the non-taxpayer MLE. They'll be about $20 million below the apron, and I don't think they care about going into the tax if they have to stay below the apron, though. That's if they keep Tucker at an $8.4 million salary, which is the most they can offer him on a 20% raise, or they might need to offer him the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, in which case, if that's going to him, they have more wiggle room to use it. It's just they're still losing a spot. So ideally, you get to keep Tucker and then still use your mid-level exception. Grant, thoughts, themes about this team? Are you surprised that PJ Tucker has been sort of billed as more of this flight risk, or is it, oh, well, Daryl Morey and James Harden are in Philadelphia, and maybe they'll sign Trevor Ariza and Luc Mbah a Moute and get the band back together?
I am a little surprised. I mean, I think it's always surprising when someone his age, basically turns down guaranteed money, but obviously I think he's gonna recoup that and then some. The Heat are a weird roster. They're very top heavy. I think they've only got 5 guys that are on fully guaranteed deals, and they're generally like a team that improves itself through trade. And it's like, well, if you have 5 guys that are guaranteed, that limits your options a little bit. I think, a bunch of that'll change, like, because they have non-guarantees on like Strus and Vincent and Yurtseven, all of whom I think makes sense to bring back, especially at such low numbers. You can think about extensions down the line. But I just think the playoffs kind of showed they're short on, a shot creator that doesn't get played off the floor defensively. If Lowry's healthy, maybe that looks different. I think they also, just like everybody, especially if Tucker leaves, you're looking at guys that can occupy the combo forward spot. Otto Porter, just to jump the gun, is like a total no-brainer target to me for them. And, Thaddeus Young, what I'd throw in there too. Bringing back someone like Derek Jones Jr., who really had his best years there. It could supercharge that defense if he, gets in prime shape again. He's comfortable there. Stuff like that. I think
a trade would probably make a lot of sense here too.
Yeah, a trade is still the likeliest, major thing for them, but a lot of those options seem to have kind of dried up. So they may just be stuck using that MLE and hoping it's enough to improve the roster, bringing Tucker back and kind of adding a forward or two or a playmaker.
Yeah, if they lose Tucker, that's going to be really hard to replace them. And I'm with you that their best route to improve is going to be through trade. And they can offer now, because of the renegotiation with OKC, if you include Nikola Jovic and like as this year's first round pick, they can trade up to 3 picks now, I believe, on top of that. To double check. I don't know what or who that gets you in the running for. And you also need the player that you described, insofar as I know, is like not available. DeJounte Murray is not that guy. Is the trade market going to develop in a different way that we don't see coming? And then even if we know that the Heat are able to mine bargains out of places, but like where, I can't even, like, going through the free agency list, I just couldn't even find someone like, yeah, maybe there's emergency shot creation types. If it's a Patty Mills, should he leave Brooklyn, or a Dennis Schroeder, but you just said you don't want them to get played off the floor defensively, and that's not really what those guys are going to give you. And look, there's a chance that they lose like Caleb Martin as well, in addition to PJ Tucker. Like, that gets really hard. Even bringing in Malik Monk, that, again, the defensive questions are there. You almost have to keep Victor Oladipo, is like what I'm looking at through this lens. Is he is so important all of a sudden. Again, the trade target just doesn't, like, the higher end trade target. And look, they're not really built to make the smaller trade, because Hero, even though he doesn't make a lot of money, like, you're not moving him unless it's a Godfather acquisition. And then all your best salary filler now, Duncan Robinson is the cheapest of that at $16.9 million. You're not just acquiring an afterthought player there. So I thought, like, because maybe if they didn't care about like the money, like they could step ladder their way. Like how desperate are they for the type of shot creation if PJ Tucker leaves? Like, do they just say, "Oh yeah, we'll take Tobias Harris," because the Sixers are like, are you really going to facilitate the Sixers getting PJ Tucker there? So that's weird as well. I'm not saying they're trapped. They're going to be a really good team if they're healthy. I just have any trade targets sprung to mind for you that even begin to address like what they need the most.
Yeah, I mean, I had just as like a total, well, you really talk yourself into it. You got to do some gymnastics. But like, if Kyrie Irving got to a point where it was just like, the Nets are like, he's got to go. Hero and Lowry are kind of the start of a package that makes sense there. I think Irving and the Heat, sort of culture is a real tough marriage, but the Heat also love superstars, and Kyrie Irving is that. And if any team thinks it could sort of make this work, even though it's never worked anywhere, they would have a right in feeling that way, or at least as much as anybody would. I think aside from that, like, and they don't really operate this way. The Heat, they tend to like go find Gabe Vincent and then or Strus and turn him into someone. But like, if Lonnie Walker just isn't a retention priority, guys, Jalen Smith, we're just going through the second draft, guys, and I have to mention Jalen Smith because it's in my contract that doesn't exist. I think the Heat again would be justified in thinking like we'll figure out what's in there with Lonnie Walker, and it's worth the risk to go try to see if we can get him with an offer sheet.
One of the trade targets I thought about, I don't know what you need to attach to make it work. Duncan Robinson plus question mark for Eric Gordon.
Do you think because Robinson's contract, it sounds bad, but it's just because it's so long that number, the 90 million is scary. I think Gordon would absolutely because there's your playmaker and guard. Well, I mean, he's as much an off-ball guy as on, but like that is not going to get played off the floor defensively. That makes sense. You could imagine him, he just doesn't come with any of the concerns that Hero does. He's not as good an offensive player, I don't think, in that specific role as Hero, but he would make sense, and he would bring, he's tough. Like the Heat love their toughness, so that's a factor too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what route they end up going in free agency. And the final thing I think to talk about here is, do you think Tyler Hero gets an extension?
That's a great question.
My guess would be, if you want to hear what I think,
I do.
No, because the Heat are going to want to prioritize flexibility. He gets a lot tougher to move if he's extended, like because of the way that the poison pill provision is going to work there. And even just like you normally don't see those guys as talented on rookie deals moved anyway. You're going to move them at a higher number later on. But he also has enough leverage coming off 6th man of the year, averaging 20 plus points, 4 plus assists, shooting nearly 40% from three, and as just honestly their most consistent tough shot maker from the perimeter at this point, unless it's the playoffs and Jimmy Butler decides that he's like going to be a perimeter savant again. He has the wherewithal to ask for a max. And if you're the Heat at that point, it's, well, you might as well wait and let's see what we can do next summer. And if we have to match a max or give him a max then because he played so well, then so be it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I agree with that.